Let me work through some of these. Some of them don't take offense. We've already trashed some of them, just based on what the questions were. I didn't do it. Some of the Republican women looked at them and took them out as, thought that they were a little too personal. So, we're going to start in the order. Okay, we're going to start with Commissioner Metz. He's going to have 2 minutes for his opening.
For those of you who may not know me, I am James Metz, currently serve as your commissioner here in Precinct 4. Prior to that, I served as Justice of the Peace for 16 years. Prior to that, I also was a private business for 30 years of heavy construction, road building, drainage projects, and dirt work. And I also have extensive experience in working natural disasters such as hurricanes, storms, and flood all across the southeast and here at home. When I arrived at the office, we had many obstacles to overcome. Our road bond projects were moving along slowly. We had tremendous growth problems already then and continue to experience that today. We immediately identified problems over there and plotted solutions and worked on that right away. Some of those road bond projects are already nearing completion now. We drain places such as Ada Lane that have never been drained before. Ms. Bodenham said she had waited 38 years for that to happen and it wasn't drained, but we did that. Dow Collins for 62 years of my life, just a sprinkle with water would get over the road. It doesn't do that anymore because we went over and identified problems and plotted solutions and moved about and made that happen. We've made many improvements here with our parks department, adding ball fields to those for recreation where parents can spend quality time with their children and grandparents as well to improve the quality of life here. I've worked hard for the time that I've been here to bring about a better quality of life and a brighter future for all residents here, especially our children. Many more accomplishments that we made since we've been. Tremendous support for law enforcement the entire court has, not just for me, but the entire court has supported law enforcement. That's why they endorse me, such as Constable Hayden, Constable Gable, and the Montgomery County Law Enforcement Association. So we're going to continue to do the good things that we're doing here and see if we be elected to office again. I appreciate your support.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Before I get started, I think it's important to recognize we have a very special guest, two guests. It's a Gold Star family of a recent Marine that we just lost, the Hernandez family. Please stand up so we can recognize you and your son's bravery. Thank you. It's a packed house. It's good to see all you here. So if you've been following this and you've been following me, you probably know quite a bit about me. And I like to talk about facts and stick to the facts. So I'll start out with a fun fact for today. About 220 miles from here, some time ago, Davy Crockett arrived on scene at the Alamo. And I can only figure he showed up there because he saw something he thought was worth offending. And I can relate to that. I'm standing here in front of you today, and I'm wanting to defend this county and stand up against the development, work on this drainage, work on these mobility problems that we're having, and go to work for you folks. If you live here, when you drive around, all you gotta do is drive around and see the issues. Anytime it rains, we're flooding out. The roads are so backed up around the schools and anywhere, and we're talking about bonds. The bonds come up. That bond was passed in 2015. It's now 2022. We have 0 complete projects on that bond. My background is strictly big projects around the world, working with high-performing teams in every oil and gas major producing region around the world. Africa, Norway, Brazil, Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, you name it. But I don't want to sit here and bore you with all that about the background. I just want to talk about what we need to get done. I want to get out in front of the issues that we're having, like the drainage. I want to take a practical approach and deal with this development. It's not rocket science. We got enough equipment, we can get out and pull the permits and see where they're going to develop, and all we got to do is dig out around it, make sure the people that have been there for generations and for years don't flood out and can get out when it rains. That's what's important to me. I've been here a long time, my family's been here a long time, and most of you in this room have been here a long time, and I want to take care of you. I got 4 kids, 3 of them sitting right here in the front, and we plan on sticking around for a while. Thank you.
Okay, the first question is for you, Matt Gray. What is the Precinct 4 budget, and what budget reductions have you or would you implement? I guess it'd be the would you.
So it's around $9 million, and I can say that with the budget we have, I would open this back up to a 5-day work week from a 4-day work week and apply those road funds to the roads. They won't be applied to salaries anymore, they won't be applied to vehicles. So with all the vehicles we got rolling around, the vehicles that go home every night from the front office staff, I'll stand here in front of you today and tell you they're going to get auctioned off. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not trying to be law enforcement. We've got a very great constable who does a fantastic job, and I'm going to support him and let him do his job. We've got a great fire team. We've got captains. I don't see the need for the county commissioner to have an airboat sitting in our shop taking up room. We've got other departments that have that equipment. So that's where some of my big cuts will be, and I'm going to focus mainly on the drainage and the roads and what I'm elected to do. So that's my cuts.
I don't plan to cut anything in the budget. I'm going to continue to do what we're doing and working on drainage. Every piece of equipment just about was dilapidated and beyond its service life when I arrived on scene. It does take equipment to do that. I have never hired anybody in regards to salaries of people that work there in private business or in public service that I didn't expect to get a day's work for a day's pay. I'm getting that. And you better start thinking outside the box today if you want to get the job done. At least get somebody on the scene that's not on drugs and that will show up and work every day. It's very difficult. I face things that no commissioner's ever faced with a record flood in Amelda that brought about $15 million worth of road and bridge damage, and a pandemic where a number of people were in the hospital and sick for weeks. Nobody's ever faced that before in those offices. We continue to work on that every day, just like eating that elephant one bite at a time, and we're making great progress in all areas. Brought the Yellow Rose property over here to add to law enforcement. The sheriff had 16 deputies over here. I supported and helped Constable Hayden get a DWI deputy where they made 361 DWIs arrests last year. Whose life did you save today, Constable? Was it mine or yours or others? Law enforcement is extremely important. I support it 100%, and I'll never be a part of defunding the police. The life that we live here in this part of the country is wonderful in Montgomery County, but you don't have that without strong law enforcement. You have what you have down in Harris County without it. That's defunding the police down there. They have record crime rates down there. You don't have that. And you don't have good law enforcement in Montgomery County without a strong commissioner's court supporting those and giving those folks the tools that they need to do their job. I'm honored to be endorsed by Constable Hayden, Montgomery County Law Enforcement Association, and others. They recognize how important it is and what the mission is here, so let's continue to enjoy the life that we love here and the quality of life that we have. I support it 100%. I'm proud of the staff that we have here. So I'll make no apologies for anybody on my team or the mission that we have and where we're headed.
Okay. Next question, before Commissioner Metz. What do you see as the most pressing need for infrastructure or capital projects in East County?
you must have mobility to get from point A to point B. The road bond projects, those are moving along now. We have future projects, we're working with the state now on 2090. 6,000 acres has been sold up there already. Those are the people like the Cinderella company, those people that think big and move fast and put in top-notch development and play by the rules. That's coming whether you like it or not. We've already worked on getting the traffic signal in at 2090. The first funeral I ever worked was right there. A young lady named Mandy Moody got killed at that intersection, and we worked very hard to get that light in there, and has helped regulate the flow. But what's happening over on the east side in Plum Grove, there's 30,000 people, I'm told, over there now. There's going to be 300,000 when they're done. A lot of those people are already coming out that way. So those are serious mobility issues that we must address, along with the drainage that's coming in here now. And as far as the development, we stopped one development in Montgomery County over on the 105 corridor because they didn't honor their word. They recalled their bond and they wanted to put in additional lots, and we held those accountable. B.D. Griffin's here, we got with them on that, and we wouldn't let them move forward until they did what they said they were going to do. So we are holding folks accountable here, and I'm grateful and thankful for my staff and the team, and working for good people like the county attorney that watches out for all of us and measures our risk. That's where I stand.
It's a great question. The pressing needs for the infrastructure. Where do you start? Just touching on the state roads. Have any of you been on 1485 West? You see all the 18-wheelers coming through the death trap off Gene Campbell? That was on the bond project. Then you go over in 2090 in Splendora, and we put on 105. Those people, ask somebody who lives over off 105 how long it takes to get over there. You put me in, when I get in as commissioner, I'm gonna be hammering on the state to get the money, to get the grants, to get the funds, whatever we gotta do to open those roads up. Those are the big ones. Then you got the Fostoria roads, Sorters Road, it's on the bond, but I guess we'll see. But I'd like to take a step back and talk about identifying these locations where we need infrastructure. That starts at the top with your commissioner, folks. It starts with your leadership. And as your commissioner, your leader, one of your figureheads of your community, I'll work with the school districts, your school superintendents, your MCED, identify where this development's going to be around East Montgomery County. Because like you've already heard a bunch, it's coming, and it is coming fast. It's been here. We're going to work with that leadership. We're going to identify those locations. I'm going to sit on the school bond committees. I'm going to have that leadership from the district sit on my road bond committees, and we're going to identify it. We're going to get out in front of it as much as we can. And it's hard to say how far that can be because we're quite a ways behind, folks. But that's what I identify as the major infrastructure needs there, Jason.
Most of these questions have to do with budget and very little about background. So I chose one of the piles that had something to do about background. So this will be for you, Matt Gray. What is your experience with preparing or authorizing budgets? What one area of county services do you feel needs additional resources?
So my background is extensively with budgets, managing and working drilling rigs. We had to do a zero-based budgeting. You had to forecast out your year, the whole year, what you would need to keep that equipment running, to keep them men safe, and to keep everything turning to the right. After I graduated from college at the Sam Houston State University, I hired on as a hand on a drilling rig, and I worked all the way into a leadership position to where we were dealing with those budgets, those AFEs, and that capital outlay. I'll go back to one of the areas that has come up tonight. We are growing at an excessive rate, and we're going to need more law enforcement and more men on the ground. And I think on Commissioner's Court, there's no getting away from that. We're just going to have to keep throwing money at that to get those men over here, those men and women, to keep us safe on the road, because like it's been stated, there's a lot of people pouring in over that county line, and everybody doesn't have the same values as we have in this room. So we've got to protect ours.
My experience as preparing and managing budget was prior to being in public service, was 30 years in private business, a successful business, a family business, and it worked very well for us. And from experience and leadership, we brought that forward from my family, and I increased it, and now my son's in charge of that. I sold out to him, and he's increased it. I have the experience there, and it's just of the peace for 16 years and working with those budgets, and now just under $9 million a year in the budget at the Commissioner's office. We are on track with everything that we're doing over there, ahead in some areas. And the one thing that I would continue to add people to and resources would once again be law enforcement, so that we can continue to enjoy the quality of life that we have here in Precinct 4. Your Commissioner's budget is not it's not set up for major projects. It is set up as a maintenance budget only for the amount of money that you receive to try to maintain the roads that we have. There's 900 miles of them with 1,800 miles of ditches here that we maintain with the money and the equipment that we have. I've updated most every equipment there, improved mosquito abatement programs. That was all a major problem, a major complaint. Now we have equipment that works off of GPS now, updated all those radars, everything that we have over there, just about with dump trucks and all, we had to replace at a cost of over $1 million. It's a challenge to keep this up with the money that you have, and we've done all this, we've supported all these things, faced all these obstacles, and while not raising your taxes. For the past 3 budget cycles, the entire court has unanimously supported at or below the effective rate or the no new revenue rate as it's known now. And that's been unanimous for the past 3 budget cycles. We're working hard up there, not just me, but the entire court, to try to provide the services at the highest level that we possibly can at the lowest cost, and continue to do that for the people of Precinct 4. It is a pleasure and honor to work with those folks on the court. Every one of them have a heart for the people, and they care, and they're working very hard to make your government work for you here in Montgomery County.
Okay, again, like I said, a lot of these questions are duplicate in some form or fashion. The other ones we scrapped for personal reasons and personal attacks. So we're going to go ahead and close. Can I add 30 seconds? Okay. So we're going to add 1 minute, 30 seconds we'll start with Matt Gray and then Commissioner Madison. Close.
Thank you, folks, again for showing up tonight. We've got a lot of serious issues in this county, on this side of the county. And I'm standing here in front of you tonight and asking for your vote and your trust to go out and fix them, to get out in front of it. I just challenge you to look at my experience, look at what I put out. I think we can turn this thing around. We're going to open it up back to a 5-day work week like it needs to be. We're going to cut down on some of these things. You'll never have to second guess my decisions. And if you do, I'll have an open door policy. We'll cut down on what would appear to be any conflict of interest when I'm running the county. And these are important to me. Transparency and accountability are important to me. You'll be able to call me, you'll be able to come back in, and we're going to open that county barn back up like it needs to be. We'll have a quarterly meeting at one of these boardrooms at Randall Reed somewhere. We're going to discuss projects completed, projects in progress, and upcoming projects and budgets. I want to thank you, Mr. Ed Reinhardt, for your endorsement and for being here. The Tea Party, the Texas Conservative Party, and all the people who've endorsed me and supported me through this. I think I'm what we need for this county, and we'll get it done. Thank you.
We're going to continue to do just what we've been doing for the past 3 years and made all these accomplishments while overcoming tremendous obstacles that I've stated already. And as far as, the work week, in 2006, Governor John Huntsman of Utah, state of Utah went to a 410 work week, saving the state of Utah some $11 million. We did that here in the JP's office and didn't have a complaint for anyone. You're allowed 2,080 work hours a year in the county. Whether you do that in 4 days, 3 days, 6 days, or 5 days. That's what you're allowed to work, unless you're gonna pay overtime. And it was much more efficient for us in dealing with the traffic and all to go to 410s while we already have the equipment out there and the savings. It worked a lot better for us on a 410 schedule than to go on 5/8s. We're getting more done. There's proof of that all over the county. You can see it's right around at the drainage project we work on and all the other accomplishments. Splash pad, which is a minor thing to some people, is take forward the grant. And again, parents and grandparents doesn't have to pay a fee that they can spend quality time with their children there at no fee on a wonderful playground and a wonderful splash pad area. We made improvements on the around the show barn over here and paving all that area, where it's always seems like it rained every September when we had the rodeo and the cook-off and all that stuff. You don't have that problem over there more. We've made many more improvements. We're going to continue to do that. We're looking at a rodeo arena to put over there because this is about to fall down. There's still a tremendous amount of people that utilize that. That me? I'm about done anyway. So, thank you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen.